The Liver King, cause why not? So this is another example of the masculine archetypes that I've been saying. Like with Andrew Tate, I'm like, keep watching for more and more masculine characters, masculine archetypes to appear in our very non-masculine culture, right? So the Liver King, Jordan Peterson, Jocko Goggins, Gary Vee, Joe Rogan, Andrew Tate, Donald Trump. These are all examples of these extreme masculine figures that are here to kind of balance the extreme non-masculine culture, right? So the Liver King, originally his name is Brian Johnson. Now his story is kind of interesting because he came from a background where he had a lot of health issues, him and his kids. And it was very similar to Jordan Peterson and Michaela Peterson, where they found that by going on an all-meat diet, all of these health issues were cured. Now, this is true for some people, right? Now, it's very interesting that how some foods and some workouts will work for some body types and some won't for others. So it's like, you know, the all-meat diet may or may not work for you. Disclaimers here, right? And so if you've seen him on the internet, you're like, okay, this guy's nuts. He's kind of a character. He's over the top, which is all true. There's quite a few sketchy things with the guy. The biggest one would be kind of like lying about steroids, or let's just say not making it very clear to the community of, you know, hey, are you on steroids or not? Now, this is kind of a steroids look. I don't want to get into it, but like being around the gym when I was younger and being around a lot of friends that were on steroids, I didn't do it myself, but it's like there's a steroid look, and a lot of times it's like a high pump that you have all the time where the veins are bulging, like a very high blood pressure kind of look. And it's like natural guys can get that when they pump up for the mirror. You can get really, really pumped and jacked for about 20 minutes. And then that pump goes away fast for natural guys. The steroid look, it's kind of like you have this extreme high pump look all the time. Probably a little suspect. So that's kind of a ding on the character because it's like nobody cares if you take fucking steroids. Nobody cares if you smoke weed today. But it's like, don't fucking lie about it. That kind of knocks you down your credibility, right? So plenty of crazy bad things about him. The thing that I really like about him is that he really focuses on this rite of passage. He's very conscious about what he's doing, where he's like, hey, there's the old world where we used to be strong, we used to take care of ourselves, we used to eat meat, we used to be manly, we used to stand up for ourselves and be proud of ourselves and put in hard work. So the masculine energy that helps build a lot of confidence. Play around with the wordage here, right? And he's looking at today's culture. He's like, we're just eating sugar. We're getting sick. We're soft. You know, he's kind of looking at this generally. And so he's created like these rite of passages, this thing that we call the Barbarian, where he loads up a bunch of weight and walks it for a mile. And it's like just fucking physically impossible. Like Army Ranger times 10, like super, super hard stuff. But he pushes himself through it and it becomes like one of these physical rites of passage. And so like other kids show up and they're like, well, hey, I want to do that. And so a rite of passage is a really, really good thing that we've lost in our culture. And it's like part of the hero's journey. Like you're going to look back as you get older and have lots of little rites of passages. You're like, oh, I remember the time I went to camp and that was really hard. Or I had this job where I got put as the boss and that was really hard. Or I was in this abusive relationship and that was really hard, but I got through it. Like you're looking at all these extreme things that you had to go through and conquer it. And that's what's building confidence. And you have these miniature rites of passage. So one thing I'm seeing as I'm watching people in real life going through hero's journeys is there's so many false summits. It's not like you have one hero's journey, one deathbed, one dragon, one rite of passage. It doesn't quite work that way. I think by the time you're 60, they'll be like the last one, the biggest one, or you know, may not even be the biggest. But you'll kind of have the last one where things will turn around, you know. But as you're 20 through 50, there's lots of them. And you'll see this in some clips I have here where there's a young kid going through the Barbarian. He's like, yeah, cool. Yeah, I grew. Now he's a young guy. He's like, it's not gonna like set him for life. You know what I mean? It's not fucking magic. But like it's going like, I'm going to do a workout, I'm going to do something hard, and I'm going to stick to it until I get it done. Real quick, just kind of going down anecdote lane, what's interesting is we see this kind of look in the audio ENFPs, in the Joans. We call them Joans. Joe, my brother, he's this type, this exact type, audio ENFP, as well as Owen Cook. Actually, let me jump down here to the type real quick first. So this is his actual type, right? Now what's funny is we are seeing in this type, this is the type we have the most of, the audio ENFPs, consume, play, sleep, consume, play, less, anything that's audio, NEFI, etc., right? And the males in particular. This is where the red hair is clustering. We have about 50 of these guys on file or so, and we'll see this extreme bodybuilding clustering in this type. Now, a lot of them will be like Weird Al Yankovic or Sacha Baron Cohen, where they're funny, they'll wear the fanny packs, they got the silly glasses, the crazy hair, like most of the ENFPs, or the rock star, they'll have their guitar or their music or their comedians. And they're usually smaller guys. But then you have, or they're tall, you know. But then you'll have these guys where they're like, I'm the biggest, buffest guy in town. And so we are seeing that cluster. So it's like you got to be careful with anecdotes because it's like, oh, they wear a fanny pack, therefore they're an ENFP. Or they're not strong, therefore they're not an ENFP. It's like, hey, you got to wait for 100, you got to wait for 1,000 people to come in. And you'll see these little clusterings. But it doesn't prove anything. So let me go back up. You have this guy. He's a bodybuilder guy. I've followed him for years. He's a really good guy. So if you're a young person, you're looking for motivation, you're looking for inspiration, this guy is a good guy. You've probably heard him like on motivational videos. He's up in the background as they use him as audio clips or whatever. He's a really good guy. He's one of these same types. This guy, I don't know too much about him. I just see him on the internet time to time. He's really fucking funny, like really fucking funny. He makes a bunch of crazy shit. We've seen with what was it? Osman, who's the kid? Osman, I forget his first name or last name or whatever. And he's one of these Joan types. He's not a bodybuilder guy, but a creator, tinkerer, inventor. You got the NE and the TE building a bunch of stuff. This guy's fucking hilarious. He builds a bunch of funny stuff, and he just looks ridiculous because you have to be fucking funny if you're ENFP. Well, I'm not funny, so am I not an ENFP? No, you're not. This guy's cool. This is more of a natural look. You know what I'm saying? The veins aren't busting. This is attainable. Guy looks like he's been working out for 20 years. That's more of a natural look. I'd say that guy's probably more natural. But this guy's really cool. I see him around a lot, and he's kind of got he looks a little bit like my brother, where he's got kind of the downturn eyes. And or Joan, if you kind of look this guy up. It's funny because they do have an introvert savior, FI, right? So again, what's most interesting is looking at data sets. So if we have about 50 of these guys, I think there's a couple more that are along this lines as far as bodybuilders, etc. So it's like out of 50, there's maybe a few that are bodybuilders. Out of 50 guys, I'd say most have red hair, or almost all of them. I don't want to say almost all of them. I'm going to say the white guys, almost all of them have red hair. Like 90% of them have red hair or traces of red hair in their beard. And so it's like you're looking at a clustering thing, and it's just going to make more clarity as our data sets get larger. Like you got to have 100 people, 1,000 people, then you can really know. So it's like you got to be careful. Like I'll see this with the ESFJs. It's like, well, an ESFJ does this or does that. They're like, hey, have you seen 100 verified ESFJs? I haven't, so I don't know. Don't have enough data yet. The ENFP males were kind of getting there. So let me get into the clips and kind of clear away all the steroids and all the red hair and all the craziness and all the fanny packs and all the nutty stuff that these ENFPs do. And let's just kind of focus on the positive and the good of this thing of rite of passage.
So why Barbarian?
We do a decent job at honoring our veterans and those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice so that we can be here today and enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy. But what about their forefathers? And what about our earlier ancestors that came before them? What about the initial evolutionary hunters so that we can have our origin stories that are scattered all throughout the world? What about the price that they paid so that we could be here today? So Barbarian is a time that we test ourselves and we remind ourselves that we're built for strength and we're built for capacity, that we're built to endure physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. It's a time that we can honor the legacy of our ancestors so that we can enjoy the spoils of the modern world. That is a pretty badass feeling.
That's a badass feeling. Okay, so one thing, the way I look at people is like, say for the ENFP, I'm like, oh, there's an STJ in there. And I'll so see this because I have so many friends that are ENFPs, or my brother who's an ENFP, so it's like, they will get like extremely patriotic, or they'll get very SJ about shit. Just for a little segment. Now they're still 99% fucking nuts all day long, right? But they have a miniature SJ in them, SITE.
We are getting ready to do Barbarian. So what we're looking at in front of us, 70-pound kettlebells in each hand. We have 120 pounds on top of the sled. We have 70 pounds of weight in the backpack right here. And we have 20 pounds of ankle weight. The Barbarian ground rules. Here they go. Number 1, no sitting on the sled. Number 2, this sled behind me has to start over the lip in the garage, and when you're done with all the implements in hand, you have to cross that lip.
Don't control me, bro.
You are done. You're gonna want to let the kettlebells down beforehand, but if you do, you just screwed yourself. So make sure that sled gets over the lip. Number 3, the backpack can never come off. You can set the kettlebells down to rest, but if that backpack comes off, you're done. There could be no better day to become a barbarian. This is your rite of passage.
If you ever want to fuck with an ENFP, which I do, and it's so fucking fun, because they're usually the ones always fucking with you, right? So here's how you do it. You find where their SI. For Weird Al Yankovic, it's spelling. And for my brother, it'd be like certain things on his desk or whatever. Find wherever your lead NE friend is weird about their SI, their rules, like you got to bring it over the line, and then just fucking troll the shit out of them. And as soon as they're like, hey, just flip it and be the ENFP. Be like, hey, don't control me. Hey, I just want to do my own creative thing. Why are you being the fucking man? You work for the government? What's your fucking problem? And their brains, they'll just be like, zzz.
So Barbarian evolved into a rite of passage for my young boys and for any tribesman and tribeswoman that joins one of my ancestral companies, if they so choose. It's a time that they get to test themselves and remind themselves what they're capable of, what's possible,
Pressure on
what sort
yourself.
of courage that they have to complete Barbarian. Barbarian can take anywhere from a couple of hours to 6 or 8 hours. Anyone can do it. Anyone can will themselves through it. And when you get through it, you realize not only is this the hardest thing you've ever done, but anything is possible. So when there's a simple marketing, supply chain, or accounting problem that somebody has, you have to remind yourself that this person has completed Barbarian. They are a barbarian. And this person is capable of anything.
Okay, you can't hear that unless you don't know his type. Typing is so weird. Like, you have to know somebody's type to know somebody's type to hear a word they're saying. Like he just said. So therefore, when you have trouble in life, like an accounting issue or a supply... What? When you have an SITE issue in your life, the worst thing ever, the hardest thing in the world ever, is when you're trying to ship a box and the label fucks up. You didn't catch that, did you? You didn't hear that, right? It's like you can't hear what people are saying unless you put on the glasses of, this is the sleep last ENFP, 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 and you have to like hold that lever and be like, okay, what is it? What is it? Little things and jelly beans on the counter and spelling and shipping labels is the worst pain ever, and I'm totally fine with people. And all the problems you have in life, you personally, they're all fucking fake. They don't have any of those problems. They're like, yeah, I'm immune to that. Yeah, people problems, whatever. It's shipping things. And so your brain just can't hear it, which is why everybody can't fucking see each other. Like you watch interviews with like people on the news or whatever, it's just here's my savior projections, here's mine, and they just fucking miss each other all day. So for example, this guy here, I believe him to be an ISTP, so you have to put that filter on. You have to put the filter on of like, yeah, I'm fine with things. Yeah, shipping labels, what the fuck ever. For him, it's going to be about me putting pressure on myself and the tribe. And I thought the tribe was with me, but then they weren't with me, but then they were with me. So doing something really hard and then having the tribe and their love, that's going to be very important to me, right? Now, you're not going to see it. You're not going to hear it. You're not going to fucking believe it unless you have the ISTP glasses on when you listen to this guy fucking talk.
I kind of went into it thinking it would just be another workout. I just cruised through it. I had a set time I wanted to do it in. Everything that went down, I was just like ankle weights falling off, strap breaking. Like I was just getting super pissed about it. When it got more difficult, I just felt like, I'm doing this for myself and to prove that I can do it, but also like I'm doing it for the people around me.
For myself and people.
The fact that they were there made it possible that I could do it because I completely accepted that. Like the goal I set was very high and I wouldn't have been able to do it without the tribe around me. They want the absolute best for you, and that by putting you through this trial, they want you to bring out the best part of yourself. And I think that's really why we do it. It's put up as a workout, but it's really like a complete emotional, physical, spiritual experience in some instances, just to push yourself that much. It is what you make of it, 110%, and it was great.
It is what you make of it. It's such a good point, because it's like you have two buff guys going through carrying all this shit for a fucking mile. One of them is like, you know what, tomorrow I can fucking hit those supply chains. And the other guy's like, tribe, I can build myself up and I do have people that love me. And it's the same fucking thing.